C.J. Bryce led the way Saturday at Notre Dame with 23 points for the Pack. He was 5 for 5 from three-point real estate in 34 minutes played, and he will be in the starting lineup. Torrin Dorn also returns to the starting lineup after coming off the bench at Notre Dame and scoring 13 points and snaring 9 boards. Kristen Cunningham, number 1 for Louisville. What an addition. The graduate transfer from Samford has been 11 assists in their win at Georgia Tech on Saturday. 0 turnovers in that victory for the Cardinals, who have won 3 in a row.
You know, Chris Mack said that Kristen Cunningham may be the most important get that he got when he got this job here. I mean, he's been such a great leader on and off the court.
Those are Food Lion starting lineups. We're ready to go. NC State's got the ball to get us cranked up from KFC Yum Center. Trying to go on the interior and deflect it away. Beverly tees up the 3-ball, hits the front rim. Knocked away and taken by the Cards. Up ahead, Wara, and he will bend that rim for the first 2 for the Cards.
Well, and Beverly's the one who's got to get going. He has really struggled over his last 3 from 3. And he's been forced to play point guard, without Markel Johnson in the lineup, and that's the guy who's been most impacted, I think, by Johnson's injury.
Johnson was injured in the game against Pittsburgh. This will be the 3rd complete game that he will miss in a row. Coach Keats says he is unavailable for this game. His teammate Torrin Dorn has tied the score early.
I think we're in for a high-scoring affair this evening. Both teams like to get up and down the floor. They both score in the 80s. Should be entertaining.
Torrin Dorn is the leading scorer and rebounder for NC State. He averages over 14 points per game for the Pack. Trying to back it on in is Sutton. And he tried to tie up Daniels, and a foul is called.
Tom, how many times do you see a long shot, a long rebound, a good steal inside by 4, a great look ahead, and that's a guy, Mr. Nora, you don't want to get going early with dunks.
18.5 points per game for Jordan Wara, 5th best in the Atlantic Coast Conference during the course of this season. Dorn spinning in the paint with the soft touch. Torrin Dorn.
Well, that's the one thing Kevin Keats wants to see. Nice balance between three-point shooting and attacking the basket inside.
Torrin Dorn, the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, has all 4 points in the first half so far for NC State. Foul was called as Bryce lost the handle and committed the personal foul as first.
Well, here's the look, and just, really active hands. You can get yourself into trouble, but he absorbs the contact and finishes at the rim.
Louisville Cardinals 13-5 on the season. 4-1 in conference play. Kevin Keats, the second-year head coach for NC State, which won on its home floor last year against Louisville in their only regular season meeting. Difficult twisting attempt comes off for 4. This is Daniels. Wolfpack with a 15-3 record. They are 3-2 in conference play. Daniels gave it up to Dorn. Kevin Keats, second year on the bench. Mikey's 36-15 so far for the Pack.
And, I don't know that people expected NC State to be in the top 25. As Sutton finishes on the break. A little lazy defense by the Wolfpack that time. But both of these coaches have done outstanding early on. You get an offensive foul. Well, this is, it's just too porous right there, and Funderburk has got to step up, at least try to take a charge in that situation. He has had 9 blocks in his 5 ACC games.
Looks like they're attending to Sutton over by that Louisville bench area. Tied at 4. Early moments, first half. The series overall very close between these programs. Louisville leads it 11-10 as they meet for the 22nd time, and the Cards have won 3 of the last 4 here in Louisville, Kentucky against the Pack. Saw the substitution. Wyatt Walker has come into the lineup for NC State. This is Sutton, and it's a 3-ball.
Yeah, it was a beautiful spacing on that play. They had their right side really loaded up, and he was all by himself in the left corner. And a second foul on NC State with a moving screen.
Chris Mack, first-year head coach. 10th overall as a head coach after 9 seasons, leading the way at Xavier, where he won 215 games, the most in school history.
And we talked about it earlier in the year. He always wanted to coach in the ACC. And, traveling from before that passed, but he always wanted to coach in the ACC. Has strong ties. Was an assistant under Skip Prosser at Wake. Dino Gaudio next to him there as well. And when he got the job, the first call he made was to Dino, and he said, "Are you with me?" It didn't take him long to answer.
Dino said yes, left the broadcast booth to get on the bench for Chris Mack. And that's Walker on the interior for NC State. Wyatt Walker, 6'9", 240 pounds from Jacksonville, Florida. 4 ran into traffic. Had to flip it back out. Williams! It's a 3 from Malik Williams.
Wow, he's 6'11", but is not afraid to pull the trigger on 3. And, he shoots 32%. Good enough from that size to give him a 1 or 2 a game.
Dorn with the tip. Was able to get it back, and then he traveled as he took a tumble to the floor. A fast-paced opening few minutes between the Pack and the Cardinals from Louisville. Cardinals with an early 10-6 lead here on Raycom Sports. It is time for our Carolina Ford dealers. Keys to the game with Mike Jaminski.
Well, for NC State, they want to have a high assist game this game, and means ball movement, player movement, and so far no assists to 5 turnovers early on. And then for Louisville, it's got to be getting on the defensive glass. They're not doing a good job in that area either early on. 4 offensive rebounds for NC State. However, Tom, no second chance points.
Cardinals with the basketball. Coach Keats told us they were going to start, Mike, in the first half with some full court pressure, and that's exactly what they have done in the first few minutes.
And it's conversely, the Louisville staff said we have to handle it and just get by, break it, and see if we can score.
So the 5 turnovers early,
and it's as I said, no assists either. 2 of those turnovers were offensive fouls as well, illegal screens.
Louisville in the first 4 minutes and change, shooting 57% from the floor. They've made 4 of 7 field goal attempts. A couple of dunks mixed in as well for the Cardinals here in the first half. 4, Beverly defending. Catch and release, Wara, foul by Helms.
That's just a freshman mistake, still learning and defending, and that was going to be a tough shot for Wara, a right-handed player coming off to his left. We want to foul in that situation, just get a hand up, bother the shot. If he makes it, go down the other end of the floor.
73% from the stripe on the season for Jordan Wara, Mike, who has improved his scoring output this year by almost 13 points per game from a season ago.
Well, this has been a big problem for NC State, is fouling, getting into early foul trouble, putting the other team in the bonus, and they've had 41 fewer makes at the line than their opponents in ACC play. It's tough to give away that many points at the free throw line, and their margin for error is very thin.
At Georgia Tech on Saturday, Wara had a game-high 25 points, was 10 of 16 from the floor. And 3 of 7 on three-point attempts. A lot of dribbling from Daniels. Denied entry from 4. Bryce stepping back. Difficult shot falling away, and Bryce hits it, Mike.
Yeah, and that's, Chris Mack, he plays a modified version of the pack line defense, which Virginia plays, and Tony Bennett's father really started. Not everybody's take on it is the same, but it's kind of the same keys. It's very tough to dribble and get through into the lane area. Got bailed out by a nice jump shot that time.
First bucket of the game for C.J. Bryce. Sutton angling his way. And Sutton called for the offensive foul on the drive.
Yeah, Wyatt Walker, not a shot blocker, but nice positioning inside. He comes off his man, absorbs the pressure, gets off of Enoch. It's going to be a nice battle down offensively, Enoch versus Wyatt Walker.
Brian Dorsey, Mike Roberts, Chuck Jones, our officials for this evening here in Louisville, Kentucky. So glad that you are with us on Raycom Sports. Celebrating 37 years of broadcasting the ACC basketball traveling violation against television.
The thing is, when you have a ball screen, you got to have a guy who gets respected offensively, and Walker only averages about 5-6 points a game, so they can stay with Beverly count longer than they might normally if it was a guy who was a more efficient offensive player.
It's now 6 turnovers in the first half for NC State. Wara, he traveled and gave it right back.
Yeah, 6 turnovers for the Wolfpack, 3 for Louisville. And really, Tom, not as a result of great defense.
Bryce has to back it up. Wolfpack miscommunication in the corner in front of that Cardinal bench, and it's back to Louisville.
We talked to the coaching staff for Louisville, and Ken Pomeroy is kind of the guru of statistics and numbers. And early on, Chris Mack was known for his defense of philosophy. They were 91st in the country in points per in defensive efficiency. Now they're already up 41, so they're really starting to buy into his system.
Both of these programs will be involved in our Saturday doubleheader on Raycom Sports. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Straight away for 3. Enoch.
Second 3 by center for Louisville. Williams knocks one down early. And Enoch at 36% too.
Other end is Bryce with another bucket. For Enoch, Mike, just his 6th made 3 of the season. Transfer from UConn.
Has C.J. Bryce been any good? I mean, 14.5 points a game in league play. And they had to have a number of people step up, and Enoch may be getting a little 3 happy right now.
Went for the heat check after one make. Lockett. 4 cut him off. Back out to Walker just inside the 3-point line. Torrin Dorn fighting hard, but it's McMahon who comes away with it. Wara's open for the 3-ball. Card's got a good look.
That was a great rush up the floor by McMahon. Good spacing.
This is Bryce. Wara backs up, grazes the front rim. And that pass is too high for Torrin Dorn, who has exceptional leaping ability, but couldn't get to that one.
Here's the look. You get the high ball screen right there, and here, look at the count right there. You got 2 guys who are going with Cunningham. Now, I still think at the end of the night that Kevin Keith's going to live with that shot. You know, especially if Enoch falls in love with it and starts jacking up threes.
Louisville, 3-point wise, started 3 of 3 from beyond 20 feet, 9 inches away, Mike, but they have missed their last 3 opportunities from three-point land. And they are the best in the conference as far as making them an ACC play. They average 10 per game. Shot clock is inside of 10. DJ King calculates the physics for 2.
And he's the one who's, you know, he was named captain, but under double figures his last 10. He's kind of fallen out of the rotation. Maybe that helps him get back in.
Harris missed on the drive, was able to get it back, but it bounces away into Cunningham. Thought about waiting for reinforcements, and now directs a little traffic. Kick out. McMahon lets the defender go on by, and he is ripping the rope.
Again, for Eric Lockett, you've got to come out under control. Well, this has just been, you know, it's just been a comedy of errors by NC State. 9 turnovers, but Louisville taking advantage. A nice pump fake and knocks down the 3.
Back inside KFC Yum Center, Mike Jaminski, Know Your Score, brought to you by Lending Tree as we go around the ACC. Also tonight, we've got Miami and Syracuse. That's in the first half. And then the finals from Tuesday with wins from Florida State, Virginia, and Duke responds after the loss against Syracuse at home as Coach K went against Jeff Capel for the first time as the head coach of Pittsburgh. By the way, Coach Krzyzewski now 1,106 career victories, 479 wins in the ACC for Coach K.
2 former assistants in the league with Mike Bray at Notre Dame, who actually has the best record against Mike.
That'll be a foul against the Cards. King picks up the foul, his first. Daniels is at the free throw line for the Wolfpack. Here's a message from CPI Security.
Get the best security and smart home solutions all in one app from CPI Security, the official security partner of ACC basketball.
Here's the thing about Daniels. 5 ACC games, Tom. 19, 1, 19, 7, 15. You know, he's just got to develop some consistency. He can score the basketball.
McMahon. Wara. McMahon, who did not score in the most recent 2 games for Louisville, has a 3-pointer to his credit, but here comes Daniels. Beverly wants 3, and he's got it.
See, that's, you know, they're letting other people handle the ball and let Beverly do what he does best, and then that's shoot it. So, you know, and I talked about the impact that Markel Johnson's injury had on him, but I think the more you can keep the ball out of his hands and let him space, the better off he'll be.
Beverly did struggle. It was a traveling violation against NC State. Beverly struggled at Notre Dame, Mike, just 1 of 6 from three-point land.
He's not shotting the ball out, but you can see right here. I mean, there's a push up the floor. It helps to have other guys who can bring the ball up. Daniels that time, the good look, the drive, draws the defender a little bit and gives Beverly some time.
Sophomore guard. Bryce comes into the lineup for NC State. We're inside of 10 minutes to go in our first half. NC State had it for a moment. Wara got it back. As that one bounces out, he will have some free throws.
The Wolfpack in 10 minutes have had a game's worth of turnovers already, and they're really paid for them too. It's a chance to be points 16 and 17 off turnovers, Tom. When you're at home, it's tough to win when you're doing that, let alone on the road. You know, they should feel very fortunate they are only down by, you know, if it makes these 2 down by 7.
Walker comes back in for NC State. Louisville also with a substitution, and Malik Williams back in. Funderburk leaving the game with 2 personal fouls. And Wara now 4 of 5 from the free throw line for Louisville. The lead is 22-15. 9:45 to go in our first half. Tom Wormy, Mike Jaminski, and our outstanding Raycom Sports ACC basketball production crew. Daniels puts some mark on that one.
That's his favorite shot. He likes to get in the lane, shoot floaters. And to think that, with him, if he gets off to a quick start, it really helps his psyche.
Daniels is a double-digit scorer, averages just over 10 points per game for the Pack this season. That's Williams, just came in the game, and he puts it in the bucket.
I love that little face-up move that time. They gave him the whole side of the floor, no double-team help coming.
Bryce for 3. Darius Perry was defending, but Bryce just shot it over him.
When North Carolina State is taking care of the ball, they've gotten shots. They're 8 of 16, they're shooting 50%.
7 points now for Bryce. McMahon the catch and release. Daniels had the position against Wara, and a foul is called.
Here's the look, and McMahon is the Braxton Beverly of Louisville.
Inside, and Dorn lays it in. And the lead has been sliced to 2 by the Pack.
He's taking better shots, and that was, again, to talk about a guy who loves to work in the lane area, Dorn.
NC State has made 4 field goals in a row. This is Perry, went for style points, couldn't spin it off the backboard. Ball is lost by Bryce, taken back by Perry. Flipped it to McMahon, was looking to return the favor, and the pass was errant.
Well, we talk about Dorn, the redshirt senior moving without the ball, getting into the lane and scoring.
NC State is 15-3 on the season. It includes an upset win over Auburn, part of a 7-game winning streak. A loss, though, to the Tar Heels at home. And then the injury to Markel Johnson 4 games ago, and he has not returned from that point. And is not available tonight for Coach Keats.
And that was that's a scary situation, Tom. When you're up in the air like that, and you get your legs taken out from underneath you, it seems like an eternity before you hit the deck. And he landed right in his tailbone. Then lost a little bit feeling for a brief period of time. They're going to make sure that he's 100% before they bring him back.
Coach has told us there is no definite timetable for his return. As Mike mentioned, they're waiting for him to be ready to roll. Beverly picking up the slack. He hit the deck after making the 3.
It was looking last 3, 6 of 24 from behind the arc. But when you're a shooter, you have to keep shooting. I mean, if he stops doing that, then he's really no good to his team. But good to see him pulling the trigger.
Fight for the loose ball is a held ball situation. And the arrow will favor Louisville. Now, NC State, Mike, after that last trip down the floor, they've made their last 5 shots. They're on a 13-4 run over the last 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. And I think, again, you look at the numbers, pretty good balance. Only 5 threes, 3 of 5 from there. And also guys slicing into the lane.
They've also taken their first lead since they led 4-2 in the early going of our first half from KFC Yum Center.
Well, the thing that, that one of the things that NC State has to do is do a better job of converting offensive rebounds. I mean, they're annihilating Louisville on the boards, but they're not getting anything as a result of it.
Officials are checking in with the scorers table. Arrow shows Louisville basketball, 7:16 to go. So the Wolfpack on an 8-0 run has battled back to take the lead, Mike.
Yeah, and they've also taken care of better care of the basketball. Good cut down the lane that time by Dorn. Bryce the jump shot. Braxton Beverly with a deep three. Could have easily been a 4-point play. But, they absorbed a nice early blow and some self-inflicted wounds early, and but have come back.
And Beverly's got a couple of three-pointers. After the slow start, responding and erasing a 10-point lead. That was the largest lead of the half for the Louisville Cardinals, and now it's NC State with a 1-point advantage.
And Kevin Keats started the year, Tom, coming with waves of players. I mean, he'd sub 5 guys in at a time, but still probably one of the longer benches in the league. 9 guys have played to this point. A lot of teams are starting to tighten things up right now and play maybe 7 guys.
Officials wanted to double check on the possession arrow, make sure it was correct. Louisville awarded the basketball, but they cannot harvest any points from this trip.
A couple of missed layups by Louisville.
Dorn stepping around his defender, and that was Wara.
A pretty solid post move that time by Dorn, just taking a look around, making sure nobody was coming down.
8 points now for Dorn in the first half, and a lot of them from close proximity to the rim. Walker is going to bump his man and send him out of bounds, and there will be free throws coming.
The one thing is guards usually don't like to defend in the post, but Nora is, he's good size in there, and Dorn might have gotten away with a little hook with the left arm, but no call, no foul.
So Cunningham is at the free throw line. The graduate transfer from Samford, who played 110 games for Samford, all starts. And Cunningham had 11 assists, Mike, in the win at Georgia Tech. 0 turnovers.
And, we talked about how many programs in the league have really benefited by those grad transfers, guys who come from mid-major schools who want to have an opportunity of 1 year of playing at a high level.
Dorn with a jumper. He's now got double digits in the first half with 10, and the lead is 3 for NC State. In fact, Cunningham and Walker for NC State were both teammates for a couple of seasons at Samford. That in Birmingham, Alabama. 4 for 3. Angular rebound to the corner. Run down by Williams. Cunningham scooping it up off the square for 2.
Yeah, a lot of times you see that on a long rebound on a 3. You get an offensive rebound, the defense gets scrambled, and that opened up a driving lane.
Daniels behind the line. Answer from the pack.
What is this? This second 10 minutes look a little bit different than the first 10 minutes. I mean, nobody could take care of the basketball in the early part of this game.
Both teams have found their rhythm. Largest lead of the night for NC State is 4. Inside, basket and foul. Cunningham slipping behind the defense for NC State.
Well, it was a high ball screen that time that got him free. But then we look and that's the time that Daniels just kind of got out of the way. But watch, you see that high screen? It was enough to get Cunningham free inside. They emptied out that whole backside so there could be no help defense.
Second foul on Bryce. Despite that miss by Cunningham, told you he was a grad transfer, elected as one of the captains of this Louisville team. And he pulls that one in, wants to run. Hesitation, drive, and 2, Cunningham.
Well, he's got a great ability to push the ball up the floor. It was kind of an early shot, I think, down the other end. Might have surprised some of his teammates with it.
He has tied our game at 32. Dorn.
Well, how about the battle between Dorn and Wara? Both ends of the floor. Well, here's Cunningham. Again, he's been getting good looks in the interior. There's been no shot blocking for NC State. And then look at this. This is just two guys going at it, and Dorn able to get to his right hand where he's much more efficient.
That is the first foul against Wara. Dorn is only 64% from the line on the season, but has the old school three-point play. How about Torrin Dorn? 13 points. On an offensive foul against the Cards.
Yeah, Sutton that time just had it in his mind. He was going to go up to the rim. They guessed right, jumped on that right hand. And that's good. That's really good defense by the freshman Helms.
That is also the third personal foul on Sutton. So 4:32 to go in a very exciting and entertaining first half.
That's tough to pick up your third personal foul on a charge that you're out of control on the dribble on.
Dorn has had the hot hand of the first half for NC State. Gives it up to Daniels. Spreading the wealth and knocking down a three is Daniels. NC State now 10 of its last 11 field goal attempts, and Daniels is also in the double digits. He's got 10, right on his season average.
Well, we talked about both of these teams and their scoring capability, and this team in this scoring game right now tracking to be in the 80s and 90s.
Foul against the Wolfpack. Devin Daniels, 10 points and 2 for 2 from long distance.
Let's look at the leading scorers in this game for NC State. Torrin Dorn doing a lot of his work in the paint area. Nice post moves. We talked about the catch there and seal. And then also able to do it off the dribble drive and get the three-point play. And for the Cardinals, Kristen Cunningham has really been solid. 8 points for him. Been averaging about 12 in ACC play, but he has really been able to get to the rim anytime he wants. Gets a nice little brush screen there. But there really hasn't been any shot blockers at the basket for either team.
Dorn and Daniels providing the scoring punch for the Pack. And Cunningham, who came into the game in his previous 7 games shooting 64% from the floor, is 3 of 4 from the field. Has not attempted a 3 yet.
You look at Louisville, though, Tom, and it's 7 of the 9 guys have scored. You know, it's been pretty equitable. They've been passing the ball around.
McMahon, who shoots a ridiculous 93% from the free throw line, but does not have enough chances to qualify in the conference rankings. But his misses from the line are a rarity. Don't forget, on Saturday, Mike, NC State, Clemson, and Pittsburgh against this Louisville program on Raycom Sports.
Let's see if Louisville can get Mr. Wara going. Only 3 field goal attempts in the game so far. And this is a guy who's been on fire for you. But he and Dorn they've been having a great battle on both ends of the floor.
Wara's averaged 25 points per game in his last 3 contests. The turnaround is good from Enoch.
Yeah, they really like Enoch, and he got great deep position right in front of the rim.
Approaching the 3-minute threshold of the first half, and Daniels traveled back to Louisville.
Louisville basketball.
You know, if there's one guy, Tom, who, for NC State, who can kind of wander and go off in his own direction, it is Daniels. Who, you know, start looking for his own offense. Does have 10 points, but 3 turnovers.
Enoch, offensive glass for the Cardinals.
5 red jerseys, only 1 white jersey in the whole area, and Enoch comes up with it. Terrific work on the offensive glass.
He's got 7 points to tie our game at 38. It's going to stay that way as Enoch has the board and the clearance to Cunningham. Able to regather.
You got to be careful if you're NC Staters. Last 2.5 minutes. You want Louisville to get on a run.
Enoch.
Now they're doubling inside on Enoch, giving him some respect.
Cunningham cut off. Wara shoots it.
That was one that, it was one of those shots. I haven't shot the ball in a while. I need to get one up.
From the baseline, it's too strong from Lockett.
So this is just hard work. Everybody else nailed to the floor for NC State, and he just got up in the air and got the ball. And look at it. That's just kind of a forced long three.
Wara just 1 of 4 shooting and 0 for 3 on 3-point attempts. Enoch picked up that last foul for Louisville, his first. And now just over 2 minutes to go in our first half of play. Shot clock at 8 for Dorn. Baseline pull-up, too much mustard on it. Up ahead, 4. Had it stripped away by Beverly after a perfect feed from Wara.
It almost caught it a little too deep under the basket, but you really have to credit Beverly for tracking that play down. Look at him come from behind. The rule is the ball goes straight down. It's usually all ball. If the ball goes up in the air, some sort of contact is involved.
Cunningham. Ran into Helms. And free throws coming for Cunningham.
Yeah, Christian Cunningham generously listed at 6'2", but I don't know about that, but certainly is fearless, very, very strong guard, not afraid to go inside.
Cunningham 2 of 3 from the line of the first half. Coming up on the Hardy's Halftime Report, we'll preview Saturday's Raycom Sports doubleheader and reflect on a busy Tuesday night in the ACC. All that and more on the Hardy's Halftime Report. From Louisville, Kentucky. Cardinals now 10 of 12 from the line. That's Beverly.
He doesn't see probably many guards that he thinks he can take off of the dribble, but I think Ryan McMahon would fall into that category.
Tied for the 9th time in this first half, and we've had 4 lead changes. And Beverly's got 8 points in the first half for NC State. McMahon.
4 with the travel that time, and he was caught in between teeing it up for a 3, which he's not a good 3-point shooter, but just moved both feet. Look at that. And Beverly using his strength a little bit, going left and finishing right.
Braxton Beverly averages 9 points per game. He's got 8 so far. It's another 3 attempt. Missed from Helms. Wara, 1-on-2. Got it back. And a foul on the play.
Yeah, Wara, again, a little frustrated, but he saw Beverly back, and I think in his mind he felt like, all right, I can just take this and shoot over the top of him. He did a nice job staying with the miss.
Devin Daniels picked up the personal foul. Tied at 40, 53.5 seconds to go in our first half with Wara at the free throw line. He's 5th in the conference in scoring, 18.5 points per game. Does it on the boards and shoots a very high percentage.
How about, he's obviously taken the Chris Mack and his offensive system too. He's at the biggest scoring increase in the country from last year, just under 13 points.
Dorn got fouled as he tried to score from underneath the hoop.
Only his first personal foul, so despite the great job that he's done on Wara, they've done it without fouling and putting him on the line.
First on Williams. Torin Dorn, brother Miles. He's a junior safety for the North Carolina football team. He's a senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Transfer from Charlotte. And he attended Vance High School in North Carolina. Williams out, Enoch in. Substitution Louisville. Dorn came off the bench for 13 points against Notre Dame.
And that was more of a, that's an offense for defense in the first half substitution to get Enoch in there on the offensive end of the floor.
So Dorn has 14 points. He has now scored in double figures in 23 of his last 25 games. A consistent scorer and a senior for the Wolfpack. Getting it done in the first 20 minutes, and we're down to 30 seconds. Wara put on the brakes. Trying to step around his defender Daniels, who picks up the foul and is not all that pleased about it. His second. Double bonus Louisville.
The thing that's keeping Wara in this, and he's got a chance to add to it. 1 of 5 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3, but 5 of 7 from the line. And it hasn't been Dorn that's fouling. It's been other guys that he's gotten on switches.
Malik Williams back in for Louisville. McMahon, Enoch exit the ball game. With the miss, 8 points for Wara.
Now the goal of your NC State, you just want to make absolutely sure you get the last shot. Maybe give you a couple of seconds to get a chance for an offensive rebound.
Four seconds on the clock. Daniels trying to get by Wara.
An offensive foul. Daniels just frustrated by Wara and the defensive job that he was doing.
So 1.6, and Cunningham's going to go for the three-quarter court shot, which appeared to be online but short. So it'll be the Cardinals with the halftime lead by 1, 42-41. The Hardee's halftime report is straight ahead from Louisville, Kentucky on Raycom Sports. The lineage of outstanding coaches here at Louisville continues with Chris Mack in his first season after 9 years as the head coach at Xavier. 8 times he took that program to the NCAA tournament. And he's got the Cardinals at 13-5 and 4-1 in conference play, and they've got a 1-point halftime lead. Mike Jaminski, as we get a look at the numbers from the first half.
And really it's the free throws that are keeping Louisville in the game. You see the turnover discrepancy right there. Neither team has a great field goal to or assist to field goal made ratio. A lot of one-on-one stuff going on. And Kristen Cunningham, he scored some in that first half. 10 points, right about at his average at halftime, but only 2 assists for him. But some nice looks there, and again, the ability to find open shooters and open trailers, and then the times that he did score, he really attacked the rim.
Cunningham 3 of 5 from the floor, missed his only 3-point attempt, but was 4 of 5 from the free throw line for Cunningham. Our coverage of ACC basketball being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome the men and women of the U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marines stationed around the world. So proud to have you with us, and we hope you're enjoying the broadcast.
Tom, we didn't see a lot of the full and up-court pressure by NC State in that first half. I wonder if we'll get a little bit more of a steady diet of that in the second 20 minutes. Also for State, really have not gotten much from their bench, which has been a real strong point this year.
NC State shooting 55% of the first half, above their season average of 49%, which is second best in the league.
And normally they've been a better shooting second half team.
4 on the run, lays it up and in.
Not a great start coming out for the second half. They get that, Braxton Beverly tried to pull that one back, it looked like, and travel on that play. So 2 possessions, 2 turnovers for the Wolfpack to start the second half. And that would have been goaltending anyway, probably on that play. And then Dorn just trying to do too much off the dribble by himself.
Cardinals are 11-2 this season when they hold the halftime lead. It was 1 against NC State. That's McMahon.
You saw everybody lifted above the free throw line on that play, and that gave him a great back-cutting lane. Beverly out trying to overplay him, knowing how he can knock down the three-point shot.
Dorn, short on the three. Wara the rebound and the run.
This one's going up.
Going all the way. Had it taken away at the last second.
Here's the look right here. They have a little screen across the top, and Beverly just gets hung up in it. Good player movement, good ball movement.
7 points for Ryan McMahon, redshirt junior from Sarasota, Florida. Wara had 8 points in the first half as the leading scorer for Louisville. That's Williams. He was well defended by Thunderberg.
There's nobody on the offensive glass for Louisville that time.
Beverly wasting no time for three, and it's all net. Braxton Beverly.
Yeah, it's so much easier on the left side of the floor if you're a right-handed shooter to come, and you can swing right into rhythm very easily.
11 points now for Beverly, and 3 of 4 from three-point range after struggling in his last game, just 1 of 6 at Notre Dame.
That's not a good shot by Wara. It's too soon, too deep. Things aren't going your way right now. You're going to have to let the game come to you a little bit.
Beverly trying to work on McMahon. McMahon had the position. Offensive foul against Beverly.
Well, those two have had their own little battle. We talked about Dorn and Wara, but these two have been going at it as well. And that's a pretty good call. It's just when you dip the shoulder like that on a drive, you're normally going to get an offensive foul called. It was slight, but just enough for it to be called.
Second personal foul against Braxton Beverly. Louisville number 23 this week in the rankings. Williams, 3 ball.
Second 3 of the game, and that was a throw back. Williams, instead of the pick and roll, was a pick and pop.
15 made threes on the season now for Williams. Sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana, open for 3.
See the kick back, and again, I think percentage-wise, you know, if you're NC State, you're going to take that. It's 32%, and you know you can live with a made shot like that.
Williams did pick up that last foul for the Cardinals, his second of the game. Dorn spun into traffic. Shot was too strong. Bryce tried to come over the top, and Cunningham came away with it. Wara. Basket will not count. They're going to call traveling against Wara. The initial attempt found him too far under the rim.
And I don't know that it looked like this shot hit the rim. And if it did hit the rim, you know, he can get his own offensive rebound. And Chris Mack is way out of the coaching box and not happy.
Driving. Too strong for Daniels. Out of bounds, it stays with the Wolfpack.
So here's the play. You know, that hits the rim, and I don't know.
NC State, 6 of 12 on three-point attempts. Beverly, Thunderberg, Cunningham, gave it off. Wara. Dorn dives for it, 4 gets it. Into the corner, Cunningham for 3. Wara trying to clean up the mess, and he's fouled.
Well, you could just see the frustration with Jordan Wara. 1 of 6, Tom, up to that point. 0 of 4 from 3, just desperately trying to get something going. And that air ball actually worked to his advantage. It was more like a pass. And you're like, all right, man, three-point play here. Maybe I can get myself going.
Daniels picked up the foul. His third. Wara completes the three-point play. 52-44 Louisville after leading by 1 at halftime. Double digits 17 times this season for Wara.
I think Kevin Keith's trying to get to, he's at that under 16 mark right now.
Thunderberg, offensive glass.
Yeah, nice work there. Got his man pushed under. We talked about it, NC State, the best offensive rebounding team in the ACC.
First basket of the game for DJ Thunderberg, redshirt sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio, who shoots 63% from the floor and averages just over 9 points per game.
Well, you got the sense, too, that if Louisville got a stop there and scored, that Kevin Keats might have been forced to take a timeout.
Offensive foul on Thorne. Wara had the position. Louisville has the lead.
I've talked about the frustrations of Jordan Wara, and really, this guy shoots 50% on the year, Tom, and 2 of 8 in this game, 0 of 5 from 3. The thing that's saving him, he's got 11 points, 7 of 10 from the free throw line, and let's see if he can kind of shed this, and maybe if this is something that ignites him.
Of course, NC State, though, has turned it over 18 times. Wara into double digits once again. 18 turnovers, Mike. In the 2 games prior to tonight, NC State had only committed 16 total turnovers, but tonight it's 18.
Yeah, and Louisville defense has been solid, and certainly the absence of Markel Johnson plays into that as well. It's kind of a trickle-down effect. You have guys, because of his injury, that are playing a little out of position.
Sutton thought about 3. Lost the handle on the drive. The ball will roll out of bounds and belong to the Wolfpack. There is a Wolfpack player shaken up on the sequence.
So Thunderberg was hit the deck on that play, but Sutton is another guy. I mean, if Louisville's looking for a third scorer, he has struggled this evening. Only three shots, 5 points for him, and this is a guy who was ACC Player of the Week 2 weeks ago.
He's averaged in double digits in his last 4 games for Thunderberg. Lockett tries his hand at a 3 ball. The speedy 4 to Cunningham, up and under.
See, that is something that is really unique with Louisville. They got 2 guys in Cunningham and 4 that can rocket the ball up the floor. That time they connected together.
Dorn trying to get 3 out of the corner, and he hits the bullseye.
And here's that little up the court pressure. Let's see how Louisville deals with it. But when you got a couple of guys, like 4 and Cunningham, shouldn't be much of an issue.
Dorn now is up to 17 points for NC State, above his season average of just over 14, and that's Wara, and he drove it against Dorn.
Yeah, they cleared it out, and looks like they're each trying to draw those fouls on each other, put some pressure on the other to defend.
13 now for Wara. Lockett found himself with some daylight in the paint.
A nice drive on Wara that time, and he came to the 2-foot stop. He knew what he was doing. Just under control jump shot.
First basket of the game for Eric Lockett, who is a graduate transfer from Florida International for this NC State Wolfpack program. Enoch turnaround. Does not get the roll.
Yeah, if you can force him to take that jump shot, you're better off. They ran a little double high post.
Bryce rattles it out, and Enoch over everybody. Bryce intercepts the outlet pass. Thunderberg wants 3. Hoists it high. Sutton the board. Knocked away by Dorn, and a foul is called.
Well, this second half started off much better than the first half. Here you see the rush up the floor for Nobody back for NC State, and the good finish by Cunningham inside. Dorn stepping back and knocking down the three in the corner, and you knew that Warren was going to come alive at some point. And then this last look, a beautiful little step back by the grad student Eric Lockett.
Lockett got the start at Notre Dame and played 19 minutes at 2 points and 4 rebounds. And he has seen his minutes skyrocket recently. Quan 4 with a 3 ball, and he's got 5 points. It'll be Enoch picking up the foul.
Interesting that War is still out on the floor, but Kevin Keats is buying Dorn a little breathing room right here. You got the under 12 timeout coming out, so to give him a little rest, and imagine he'd be back in after that to finish the game out.
3 players in the double digits for NC State. Beverly, Dorn, and Daniels. Rebound, Helms stripped away, but a foul called. So Helms, good work on the offensive glass, and the foul goes against the Cardinals.
That was a huge gap in rebounding into halftime, but the Wolfpack kind of battling their way back.
Perry picked up that last foul for Louisville, his first. Going inside a 12-minute second half. Beverly unleashes the 3. Enoch. Wara 3 feet behind the line and never got there. And then taken back by the Cardinals. 4 lays it in as Wara gives it up unselfishly.
Yeah, I thought the first shot was a selfish shot, and I was a little surprised actually he gave it up in the offensive block.
The foul was against the Cardinals, but they've got the 10-point lead. 61-51 on Raycom Sports. Louisville leads visiting NC State. Our road to the tournament is brought to you by the Honda dealers of the Carolinas and the upcoming schedule for Chris Mack in Louisville, and it begins at home Saturday against Pittsburgh.
You would figure a couple of winnable games. One, you might be able to get on the road at Wake Forest, and then the return match against North Carolina.
You can see that game against Pittsburgh right here on Raycom Sports. 2 p.m. Eastern.
Jess Capel also in his first year doing a better job, I think, than people expected out of Pitt. After an 0 for last year.
First points for Helms. Pittsburgh has already defeated Louisville this season. That at Peterson Event Center on January 9th, 89-86, and that was an overtime, G-Man. So the return matchup on Saturday. Entry pass too far for Enoch.
The Oakland Zoo back in form at Pitt.
That's the 11th turnover for Louisville, which has led the whole way here in the second half with 10:45 to go in regulation. Bryce, back iron. Wara had it initially. They're going to say it is NC State basketball.
Yeah, Bryce is he's another guy who's got to get going, I think, in this second half. They've been playing very well. 14.5 points. He talked about in ACC play, only 7 tonight.
Helms again. Walker has the rebound in a congested area. A couple of ball fakes, and he follows his own miss.
Yeah, as we said, NC State has controlled the glass, especially offensively. But a nice job by Walker. He was the only one who was putting any effort into going up and getting the ball.
4 points now for Wyatt Walker. Trying to defend Enoch. Not an easy task. Got help on the double team. Ball hit the backboard, but it's off of NC State as Lockett came over to help defensively against Enoch.
Yeah, and Enoch never saw him. He turned that way, and Enoch came low and bothered the shot. Here's Moore is probably going to get about a minute or so rest.
Fresh faces for Louisville. That includes Williams with 8 points. Number 5 in white. Cunningham on the inbound pass. Sutton ran up against Walker, missed the shot. Lockett into the corner, Beverly.
You know, he's talk about playing off the ball with him, how important that is, and in his ability. And Chris Mack incensed about that no call on the last drive.
14 points from Braxton Beverly. 61, 59 cards on Raycom Sports.
Talked about Braxton Beverly and his struggles in the last 3, 6 of 24 from behind the arc, but playing a little bit more off the ball in this game, and really responding, Tom. 5 of 7, 4 of 6 from 3, and one of 3 Wolfpack's players in double figures, and that's the last one he hit right in front of their bench. So they really needed his offense tonight. Now, you know, if I'm Chris Mack, I don't got a lot of latitude to talk about, you know, fouls. His team has shot 13 of 17 from the line. The Wolfpack 4 of 5.
McMahon trying to save it in the corner, but right to Bryce. Potential 3-on-1. It's Lockett with the left hand and the layup.
Well, you see, you get in trouble like that, it's almost better to take the turnover, a dead ball turnover, rather than save it like that. That was actually the first pass to that fast break.
Mike, it's now a 10-0 run for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, watch that. See, save you, unless you have somebody absolutely right in front of you, just take the turnover.
And that run has come in the last 1 minute and 51 seconds, and the game is tied at 61. After Louisville led by as many as 10 here in the second half, and Williams gives them that lead right back with the mid-range.
You think of Malik Williams more of a, you know, the defensive guy, the shot blocker, the rebounder, but his numbers up in the ACC play as well. 11 points a game for him. So he and Enoch, nice production out of the 5, and then he gets the rebound.
Beverly missed on the drive. He's got 4 made threes. That's now 42 for the season, but Williams wants a 3. Tried to put a little backspin on the back iron. It didn't work.
Yeah, just when I said that, and you know, I don't know that's necessarily the shot Chris Mack wants.
Beverly took a long distance 3 as well from straight away. Out of bounds, and NC State basketball as Wara is going to come back in for Louisville.
And that might have been about a step out of his range. That looked like more like a heave than a shot. He does have, you know, he does have deep range, but
Hellam's out. Dorn is in.
Dorn will be in for the remainder of this game. He got a good rest.
He's got 17 points. Teammates trying to help him out. It's Bryce.
That's the thing, you know, and it was a star there, but the benches come in and giving them a little bit of a lift in the second half.
Once again, we are tied 63-all as we go inside of 8 minutes to play in regulation. Tom Morby, Mike Cheminsky, and our outstanding Raycom Sports production crew with you for ACC basketball here in Louisville, Kentucky, in KFC Yum Center. That is off of Walker of NC State. We are tied 63-all, and we'll be back after a word from your local ACC station. It's bow time, so that means we're checking the Bojangles fan of the game. It is legendary coach Denny Crum, responsible for 2 national championships here in Louisville. 675 wins, G-Man, the most in the school history.
Yep, 1980 was his first one with Darrell Griffith and that whole group, and then in '86 with Purvis Ellison beating Duke.
72-69 in Dallas in that final against Duke.
Johnny Dawkins' senior year.
Sutton with a bucket. Louisville retakes the lead. 16 ties, 5 lead changes. Alley-oop Funderburk, and he took it from Bryce.
Wow, what a great play. Just a little screen and roll action on the weak side. I like to look at teams that come out of timeouts and see how they execute offensively, and that play worked to perfection.
This is Williams stepping across the paint, and he's fouled. Lockett and Bryce were there defensively.
Yeah, that was just a mix-up defensively, and then you see the just a simple screen, and there was nobody in the backside to help on that lob.
Funderburk has 4 points, but he did pick up his third personal foul as Quan Ford comes back in for McMahon. 7 points for McMahon as he leaves the game, and that includes 2 3-point baskets. And now 12 points for Malik Williams.
Plus 11 at the free throw line for Louisville. We talked about ACC play. NC State minus 41 in their games.
NC State in the game, 39% from beyond the arc. And they are 14-1 this season when they shoot 30% or better from long range. Shot clock is at 6. Bryce recognizes it. Williams the deflection. The outlet to Wara, intercepted by Lockett. He goes alley-oop to Dorn. Regathers. Second effort. Bryce the tip. There was a foul call prior to. Erratic play.
Well, here's the look, and I think Dorn just got pinned a little. There's the block. And normally trying to get the ball ahead to Wara, but Dorn pinned underneath the basket initially, but stayed after it. Really nice hustle play.
Foul is on Williams. Enoch comes in for Williams. Williams a double-digit scorer tonight. He's got 12. Dorn just 2 of 4 from the line. If there is a weakness in his game, Mike, it might be at the free throw stripe.
Well, he's got a weird rotation on the ball. It's almost like a sideways rotation.
A lot of distractions to contend with behind the backboard there, Mike. Didn't bother him in that instance.
But you know what? If you actually go to the free throw line and stand there, you shouldn't even see that crowd. You see the lights above them in that first row. You know, they're thinking they have an impact for you. They're really not your sight line.
Wara. Little floater came up short. Wow. His rhythm is off.
Yeah, just one of those nights. 3 of 11 now.
Daniels, tough drive. Wara the board.
The referees let him play a lot of contact in the lane area.
Beverly goes to the floor, flips it up to Dorn. Daniels had it poked away. Cunningham. He's going to run it back 2-on-2. Utilize his teammate. 4-3.
You see, Sutton never really got back on that play, which actually left him open. A little cherry picking from 3 that time. Fortunate they had a turnover on the other end.
Sutton with 10. Cards by 4. Bryce with a 3.
Boy, anytime that Louisville has tried to pull away in this game, NC State has answered with a big shot.
How about 10 made threes in the game for NC State? That's now 8 times this season. They've made 10 or more from beyond the arc. They've needed all of them to close the gap to just 1. Watch that shot clock, Mike. Down to 3. Enoch.
Wow, that was, but that was one he was forced into because the shot clock was on his back. They were trying to post him up, couldn't get him the ball. He came out to set a ball screen and just hoisted it. His second 3 of the night.
10 points for Stephen Enoch. 4-point lead, Louisville. Daniel stumbles on the drive. Turnover number 20 on the night for the Pack.
Really is a miracle. It's only a 4-point game. I mean, just, to see that many mistakes, and especially, it's not just that, but it's the points off turnovers.
Pack has done the job on the boards, though, Mike, leading 35-24.
But then you also have the big gap at the free throw line overcome, and now Ford stepping up.
$11 points now for Quan Ford.
Yeah, they've got 5 guys who average double figures in ACC play, and they've got all 5 there now.
Cards up 75-69, a recent run to build that lead late in the second half, G-Man.
Yeah, they've had a bunch of runs this year in very different games, and Eden Sutton that time is, again, a guy who hasn't had a lot of shots tonight, and Enoch forced him to take in that 3. And then Ford just kind of feeling it, forces the timeout. Now, again, talked about execution coming out of a timeout. Let's see if NC State can respond.
The lead is 6. It's been as many as 10 of the second half for the Louisville Cardinals. NC State with the ball. Lockett. Kick out. Beverly buries the 3.
I'd say his shooting slump is over with at this point. Big time shot, big time response, good timeout by Kevin Keats.
17 points on the evening. Braxton Beverly. Five made threes in the game for Beverly. Shot clock at 10 for the Cardinals and Cunningham. Sutton.
Boy, Tom, the shot clock has been on their back a lot in these last 4 or 5 minutes. They've had to take some long threes as a result of that.
11 made threes in the game for NC State. Inside of 3 minutes to go in regulation. This is Dorn.
Well, Enoch is basically playing center field out there. He's not even worried about Thunderbird. He's showing hard on screens, stretching plays out, clogging up the lane, and getting rebounds.
Cardinals have won 3 in a row at North Carolina, at Georgia Tech, and right here against Boston College. 4-1 in conference play. Shot clock at 6. Cunningham driving. Pass Bryce. Whistle and foul.
If you're going to get beat, you want a guy to beat you with your weak, with his offhand, and he was forced to go left that time.
3rd foul on Bryce. Cunningham 4 of 5 from the stripe tonight. Kristen Cunningham, Georgetown, Kentucky, and a graduate student. This will be the 21st free throw attempt of the night for Louisville. War recovered defensively against Lockett. Bryce had it stripped away, and Enoch ends up with the basketball.
Well, really quick hands, and again, Enoch is just kind of roaming out there freely. Now it becomes a war. The clock is some late, high pick and rolls. I think you got to get going, though.
Wara deep into the shot clock. Thunderbird outlet Lockett waiting for reinforcements.
Good transition defense. Five white jerseys back.
Bryce trying to work on Enoch. Stepping back for 3.
He really bailed him out in that play. That possession was going nowhere. No ball movement. No player movement. But he just makes a big-time shot. Looked like nobody's moving around. Everybody's standing there waiting for him. You know, he thought he got a mismatch against Enoch, but he just took the step back on the three.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Geico, saving people money for over 75 years. By Food Lion, official supermarket of the ACC. By your local Chevy dealers. And by Lending Tree, official loan shopping partner of the ACC.
Pieces of the tradition and history. Dr. Duncanstein, Darrell Griffith. The 2 national championships. You know, Mike, we referenced the national title in '86. The last team to beat them that year was NC State, and then Louisville won 17 in a row to win the national title.
Yeah, it was a great team, and great to be a part of it. You know, if he had played anywhere, and this is no slight to Salt Lake City, but any place with other than Utah, you know, it'd be a household. Not that he isn't, but a lot more people would have seen him play and enjoyed it.
Chance to tie or go ahead for the Wolfpack. 1 minute to play.
Again, a lot of standing around by the Wolfpack.
7 threes made in the second half for NC State. Beverly, kick to the corner, offensive foul. It was McMahon who hit the deck.
Slow developing play that time. He tried to turn the corner, but just it was one dribble too many, Tom. One dribble. If he had stopped one earlier, he could have kicked it out. Never would have picked up the foul.
5 players in the double digits for the Cardinals. Couple of players.
Beverly going to pick up a foul.
It's Beverly and McMahon. That's 2 quick ones on Beverly after the offensive foul. He now has 4 personal fouls.
Here's look. You see the little hook right there.
1-on-1 situation for the Cardinals. Coach Keats pacing that sideline after defeating Louisville at home a season ago.
Just with that pressure out on the floor, I'm a little surprised that 4 isn't out on the floor instead of McMahon.
McMahon has made both of his free throw attempts tonight.
93 on the year, 93%.
Up to 8 points for McMahon.
And that's probably the reason for a 59% free throw shooter. So you take a little speed off the floor, but you get a guy who's going to, probably going to receive every inbounds pass that, that Louisville makes at the end of this game.
42 of 45 from the line this season for McMahon. Timeout, Louisville. Our performances of the game brought to you by your local Chevy dealers. Torrin Dorn for the Wolfpack. Kristen Cunningham for the Louisville Cardinals.
Yes, again, we talked about older guys, your veterans stepping up in big games and making plays, and these 2 certainly have.
Both the leading scorers for their respective teams tonight. As we're down to 46 seconds to go in regulation. NC State, Mike, trailing 79-75.
Well, I think you can. You're still at a point where you can go. I want to get something attacking the rim, offensively. Try to get a quick hitter, maybe then play the foul game. If I'm NC State, I'm going to face guard McMahon and not let him receive the basketball at all.
Don't forget Saturday, NC State at Clemson or Pittsburgh and Louisville right here from KFC Yum Center on Raycom Sports. What a game we have been treated to tonight along with these fans in attendance. Some of the most spirited fans in all of college basketball inside of KFC Yum Center.
I like the fact, too, that Cunningham is pressing up a little bit. He's not going to let the ball run along the floor. Make sure that Beverly has to catch it and dribble it. And, boy, just looked like a miscommunication right there, but just a pass to nobody. And it's just, you know, I think that Bryce was just trying to hold his man off and never really came up and received the basketball. Season high 23 turnovers, although they did beat Auburn with 22. Yeah, they get a foul and.
Fourth on Bryce. Kevin Keats, the former Louisville assistant coach, returning as the head man of NC State and facing an uphill climb in the second half.
Cunningham 72% from the line, so fairly reliable. Not in McMahon's class, but
15 points now for Cunningham. Mack, just the fourth head coach in the last 48 years for this program.
And now they've got a foul to give if they want to in this situation as the shot clock winds down.
Dorn got the shot away, rattles out. Williams the rebound, and he protects that basketball. He's fouled by Lockett, and we're walking to the other end of the court.
You talk about the start of the Chris Mack era, and Louisville about to go to 5-1 to tie with everybody at first place, at least for now. But Tom, they've got the #2 recruiting class coming in next year.
6 players in that recruiting class too for Coach Mack. They've done well this season with the addition of some key graduate transfers. Williams, a sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana, way above his average of 7.6 points per game. And he's made all his free throws. Final 18 seconds.
About 23 points from Enoch and Williams at the center position.
Beverly driving all the way in. He's got 19 tonight. Only 12.2 to go. Immediate foul, Bryce. That is the 5th on Bryce, who has fouled out of this game for Kevin Keats. Here's what we got coming up, and it starts Saturday at home against Clemson.
Yeah,
then they get Virginia after that.
Well, how about you get Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Carolina in consecutive games, and Pitt is not an easy place to play these days.
Pitt is coming here on Saturday to take on Louisville, a team it's already defeated this season, and NC State went 1-1 against Clemson last year, each team winning on its home floor, and now Bryce out of the game with the 5 personals and 15 points. Final 10 seconds. Williams comes over for the block and celebrates. Quite a night for that young man. 14 points for Williams. And 3 blocks. Just a 1-point game at halftime, and we've got a wedgie. That will be Cardinal basketball. Lucky it wasn't Atomic.
Malik Williams. Yeah, the atomic wedge is when the backboard comes down.
You don't want that. Louisville, 84-77, and a win at home for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it was, you know, NC State fought hard, but just that number of turnovers, too much to overcome.
For highlights of must-see moments of this game and others, check out the ACC.com. Our next telecast on most of these Raycom stations coming up Saturday. We've got 2 games for you. You've been watching coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball on the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.